Emily, would you rather be eaten by a snake, mauled by a lion, or drowned by an alligator?
Oh man, I don't know what eaten by a snake looks like. Is that slow? Because they're smaller.
Anaconda. I want to talk like 40, 50-foot long, massive snake. Like it's going to eat you whole. Like it will strangle you and then eat you all whole.
This sounds weird, but probably that.
They're all weird, Emily.
I know they are. So I gotta
That's
pick
why
one.
this is the tip of the hat to Jacob Pollock. Hey, what's happening, you guys? Welcome to the Proclivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joel Cochran. I'm here with Emily Rodella, amazing co-host extraordinaire. And today, what we're going to be talking to you about are those habits. We're going to be talking, and if you can see us on Spotify or YouTube, quotation, the good and the bad habits. What does that actually mean? We're going to talk to you about what they are, how they work, and how we can ingrain the habits that we do want. We're going to be diving deep today, and Emily is going to be the guinea pig. So if you're listening and you're like, ooh, I want to know more about Emily, well, we're about to do a little guinea pig status. And if you want to join, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm going to take Emily through some exercises. You can do the same thing. So when we get to those exercises, we can pause. You can do the exercise, and then we can continue. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Emily.
Joel.
What's the best thing you have purchased in the last 30 days? Say it. Say it.
Say what?
Say it. What's the best thing you've purchased in the last 30 days? You know it.
I do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, the lint roller.
Yeah, that took a
Is that
while.
what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's
It wasn't the
exactly
past 30 days, but yes.
Okay.
We found a trusty lint roller.
Trusty. What's the lint roller? Let's give a shout out to our sponsor.
Pet Lovers.
Pet Lovers Lint Rollers. Thank you, Pet Lovers Lint Rollers, for being a sponsor of the Proclivity Podcast.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's little things in life, guys, like getting your dog hairs off you. And this is one that Emily swears by, so check it out. Anywho, let's dive in to talking about habits. Habits are a really interesting thing. But like with most things that people say, they don't actually understand what the definition is. They throw it around because they heard it from their mom or dad or society or friends, yet we don't really actually understand the definition. And when we understand the definition more, we go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So, Emily, what is the definition of a habit?
Definition of a habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice that tends to occur subconsciously.
A settled, think about it, guys, a settled, like something settling to the bottom of a pan, or regular tendency, or practice. That's a key one as well. Mm-hmm. That tends to occur subconsciously. It occurs subconsciously because of the practice. Emily, what's something that we say so often here at Proclivity?
Repetition is the mother of all skills.
What does that mean?
If you're going to do one thing, just repeat it, practice it, put the reps in, consistency.
Yeah. And if we rep out something again and again and again and again, are we going to get good at it? Mm-hmm. Or will it become, I say, if we take out good, or bad, will it become subconscious?
Yes.
It's automatic.
Yep.
So if I put a barbell in your hand, Emily, and I said do a power clean, would you be able to do a power clean with your eyes closed?
Yes.
Because why?
Because I have done a lot of reps.
You've done a lot of reps. And so the reason that we're bringing this up is because we have a tendency to classify habits as good or bad. This is the same thing that we do with food. We call it good or bad. When really these are actions, when we talk about habits, that we're doing. So if we're doing something and we call it bad, guess what we're going to think of ourselves, Emily?
Bad or broken.
Exactly. So then we start having an identity issue because we're actually calling ourselves bad. And it's the same connection we have with food. I ate the cake, that was bad. That's bad for me. So now it's something I've ingested that is now part of me. So now I'm creating guilt or shame with myself because I'm classifying something as bad. So now I want to move into the definitions of good or bad because this is going to be really key, guys, and I want you to listen in. Emily, what's the definition of good?
To be desired or approved of.
Holy F. Is that a definition I want to hammer on? To be desired or approved of. You have to be a good boy. You have to be a good girl. That was so good of you. I'm seeking external validation to be good. We could end up getting stuck in this of chasing good, the good food, the good habits, the good relationship, the good self-belief, because I'm seeking approval.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the definition of bad?
Of poor quality or a low standard.
So now I get to classify what is bad or good. And even though Emily and I would look at it and be like, "What? No, that's not bad food." If you're saying it's of poor quality, I'm now of poor quality. I am now of low standard. And we start crawling back towards that identity. So we need to be very careful on what we're saying in terms of good and bad habits. Some may be more beneficial towards a certain way of living that we want. And others may pull us away or confuse us from the way we want to live. But to classify them as good or bad is going to create guilt or shame, regardless of what it is. Whether we know smoking cigarettes is a bad habit. If we are telling ourselves that, we're going to stay in that habit because we're going to feel guilt and shame because we are of poor quality and low standard when we smoke because it's a bad habit. And what would be a better habit or a good habit is to not smoke so that I could be desired and approved of from those around me. This is going external to internal. When we're external to internal, we're going to be living in a victim mentality. That's a tough place to live. Now we're trying to get approval from everybody around us instead of creating our own reality within us. What do you think so far, Emily?
This is one of my favorite subjects. This is exactly what we love to teach in the proclivity method is we actually want to be internal to external, right? We want to be the light. So I love it.
She's in. So we're going to take the first step here in starting to look at habits and unwinding them. So I want you, if you're listening, I want you to be able to grab a pen and a piece of paper, or you can even do it on your phone. Emily's going to do this right now. So Emily, we're going to move into these feelings of like, okay, well, we're going to, again, quotation, the bad habits I might have. I want you to write this down. I want you to write, I have a problem, and I want you to finish what that sentence is. And I want you to think like, hey, what is a problem that maybe a bad habit that you have, right? I'm doing quotations to connect with you guys. What's something that you may have a problem with?
I have a problem with staying focused on one task.
Okay. Now, watch what we're going to do here, guys. The first thing is to be able to then go into the emotions of how that makes Emily feel, because this is critical when it comes to habits. We are what we repeat. All right, Emily, what's the first emotion that comes up when you read that sentence?
Shameful.
Shameful because
Because I know better and I feel guilty when I'm not staying focused.
nice, right? So this is actually perfect. So Emily knows better. So now she's creating this identity that what she's doing is wrong because she knows what she is right. So anytime that she does go into staying on track, right? Or not being on track, oh, it's wrong. Now it creates shame. Now I think less of me. What am I focusing on? I'm actually focusing on me not doing the right thing. So it grows. When you think of Emily in that sentence, how does she look and feel? What's the identity of Emily there?
Sad, low confidence, unproductive.
Okay. So now we've created a picture of Emily. And if you guys are going along with this, you can also create a picture of yourself. And now this is what the brain is now focusing on. The reticular activating system is now focusing on that. And it's expanding what we're focusing on or thinking of. Yet we're going to change something here. Emily, I want you to take that same sentence, switch out problem with opportunity. And I want you to say that out loud.
I have an opportunity with staying on track and focused.
How does that feel?
It feels better, more hopeful.
Okay. If you have opportunities to stay on track, now how do you see yourself throughout your day or identifying with that sentence?
I see myself recognizing when I'm doing it and pivoting and adjusting.
Do you feel shameful?
No.
Sad?
No.
Maybe hopeful?
Yes.
Interesting. So with a few switches of some words, we are now painting an identity of Emily finding opportunities to stay on track, to stay focused, to create her focus. So now, less shame. Do you agree?
Yes.
We have to recognize, folks, where habits come from. And where habits come from is the story that we tell ourselves. Because the story creates the identity, and the identity creates the habit. What do I mean by that? I want you to imagine you're going out the door, you forget something at home. Emily, have you ever done that?
No. Lots of times.
Okay. You go out the door, you forget something. You then get somewhere, say to work, and your laptop's at home. Has that ever happened?
Yes.
Okay. When we get to the office, there's a key point, and you did this the last time. There's a key point that's going to happen. This is the story, right? The story is the reality that we're living. We got to the office, we don't have our laptop. Have you in the past forgot something and then gotten upset about it? And
Oh yeah.
cool. And then what would be the sentence you might use?
More of a and then yeah, like gosh darn it, why do I always forget this? Or why do I always forget things or rush out the door?
Cool. I want you to say the same thing, but switch it with how.
How do I always forget things and rush out the door?
Cool. Take out always.
How do I forget things and rush out the door?
How do I forget things? Does that change anything from why do I always forget things?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why?
Yeah, it goes from a feeling of annoyed and frustrated with myself and putting myself down to why am I forgetting these things and looking for a solution?
We get curious because you guys, this is how the habit's reinforced. I forget something at home. I get to the office. I say to myself, oh my gosh, I always forget stuff at home. I then connect it with an emotion. I add an emotion. What's the emotion that you usually have if you forget something at home?
Frustrated.
Frustration. The emotion now seals the words that we just said. I'm so forgetful. Gosh, it's so frustrating that I'm so forgetful. Bam. I've now enforced the habit. Instead, what did you do the last time that you left your laptop? You got to the office. What did you say the last time?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember going, hey, here I go back to get my laptop. And it was less shameful.
Was it more of a negative emotion or a positive emotion?
Neutral or positive.
Cool. So then when you got home and got back to the office with your laptop, were you frustrated at yourself, angry at yourself, or you're just like, cool, time to start work?
Yep. Cool. Time to start work. Here we go.
When we use our words and we enhance them with emotions, we will enforce that habit, meaning that we will keep forgetting those things because we're highlighting them. We're making them bigger. Mm-hmm. We're putting a focus. What we focus on expands. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is how habits work. And we think that we can hijack habits or change it with these things. But if we have the emotion and the language that ties to it, this is what it's going to look like every time. So I want us to do another exercise. Emma, you in on this? Mm-hmm. I love this one. We talked about something that, maybe it can be frustrating, right? I can be forgetful. First off, who told you that? I'm a forgetful person. Who would tell you that?
Myself, or perhaps.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Purely internal to external, we're creating. People can say everything about you. Emily, you're not a mom. Would you believe that?
No.
Why?
Because I have a child.
And so therefore, whatever you say, listen, I don't care, bud. I have a child. I'm a mom. We can do that with anything. Mm-hmm. Somebody can tell you like, you're so forgetful. And you're like, you can tell me whatever you want. I know who I am. That's internal to external.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I want you to do. I want you to write down one thing you're good at. And I want you to write it this way. You guys, you're welcome to follow along. I'm good at, put what you're good at. Then I want you to put because and answer the because. What she's doing right now, you guys, she's first highlighting something that she's good at. Second, she's creating buy-in on that initial first sentence by putting a because. You get a 33% buy-in in anything that you're saying when you write down because. That is because we are creating a more detailed decision or proof to what we're saying beforehand. Do you have that down, Emily?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. You got your because statement, and at the end of it, I want you to write, which makes me a person who, and answer that at the end. Could be one word, could be a couple words. So right now, the sentence that we have, guys, is I'm good at because, which makes me a person who, and we're going to get Emily's full sentence here. So when you're ready, go for it.
Okay. I am good at looking at all perspectives because I know it helps me stay in control, which makes me a person who creates solutions.
Dang. Emily, how do you feel?
I feel great. Empowered.
Oh. How do you see yourself in that sentence? Paint the picture for us.
Calm, confident, a good listener, understanding, and solution oriented.
Cool. Did you create any solutions in the last 30 seconds?
Did I create any solutions in the last 30 seconds?
Yeah. Did I ask you to solve anything, and did you solve anything?
Not specifically, other than this
No.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, I just asked you to write that down, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was no actual action to prove that you're a solution maker, was there?
No.
But are you feeling like a solution maker?
Yes.
Can you see yourself as a solution maker?
Yes.
She created the identity, and now guess what her brain and her body are going to be seeking for?
Solutions.
Boom. So now she's going to seek solutions. She's going to find them. The action will now help solidify the identity. Here goes the loop. Here goes the loop. Yet it's so easy for us to do the opposite. I'm bad at because, which makes me a person who is. Now, bam, I'm solidifying the identity. I'm bad at exercise because I was never taught how to do it from my parents, which makes me a person who is lazy and never works out. How do you see yourself now? Trapped, right? A victim because your parents never worked out, sitting at home, not being able to exercise because it's just too hard. Nobody understands me. Now, what are your actions that you're going to take the rest of the day? I can guarantee you it's nothing towards exercise because you aren't identifying as somebody who does exercise. And I asked Emily this earlier. Who told you that? Very rarely are you going to find cases in which people are constantly hammering you down. Every day, you are stupid, you are stupid, you are stupid, you are stupid. There are cases where people were in some really terrible situations where there was a lot of verbal abuse. And so there is that belief in someone else telling you that time and time again. Why? Because repetition is the mother of all skill. And if we hear it and we start believing it, then we start becoming it. Yet, we have the ability to decipher everything that comes in. We create the light internally to go external. And so we get to choose that, you guys, regardless of the situation, regardless of your reality. You get to perceive your reality. You always get the opportunity to change your perception of the reality, regardless of when it happened. This is the work that we do. Because when we unwind that false perception or identity of the past, now we can take in the habits, the foundational habits of the proclivity method, and apply them. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, when you start to realize this, it's literally life-changing and extremely powerful. And initially it's like, oh, it's that easy to shift like that? And it feels like, whoa, I can do that? Yeah, you can. And that's why we do what we do. It's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And so I want to wrap this up for you guys. You might be sitting here going like, whoa, right? I just thought my bad habits were my bad habits, right? And I jumped on this podcast, right? Because you were going to give me some techniques and tricks on how to, make the bad habits hard and the good habits easy. There's plenty of books out there for that. You guys want to do that. Atomic Habits is a great book. Go out and read that book. Yet I can guarantee you that if you still identify somebody who does X, Y, or Z, you can go ahead and make the habit as hard as you possibly can to do. You're still going to identify with it as being the person who. And so maybe you start exercising a little bit because you put in all these good habits. I'm going to lay out my clothes. I'm going to put my running shoes by the door, right? I'm going to get myself a Fitbit or Garmin. That's going to help me stay on track. Yet when the doubt comes, and it will, are you going to believe that you are that person? This is where the change happens. And so which comes first? Identity or action? Emily, this is something that I've been talking to you about. And it's like the chicken or the egg. Yeah. I'm curious in your perspective, when it comes to changing habits, we know there's an identity piece to it. Do we need to create the identity like we did with you? Or do we need to take the action and then back it up with the identity?
Yes, this reminds me of the gut brain axis. And my answer is both. It's a cycle, right? And they both affect each other. And for some certain things and certain people, the action comes first, right? Or we do the thing, or someone introduces us to a new thing. You go on a hike with a friend, you're like, oh, I can do this, right? But actually, when you really think about it, more often, in my opinion, it's the identity and specifically the belief that you can do it, right? If someone asks you, hey, do you want to go on this 10-mile hike? You're like, whoa, that sounds intimidating. But I mean, if they're asking me to do it, they think I can do it. So I guess I can do it, right? That's that belief and part of that identity. So then you go and do it, right? Yep. Without that, you'd be like, no, that's not me. I can't do that, right? Yep. Right. So I would say majority of the time it's that identity or that belief that you can do it, even if it's not perfect, right? That's where I think where a lot of people get hung up. It's like, oh, I have to be the hiker, the runner in order to go do that, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But knowing, hey, no, I can at least try it. I'm the person who tries things, right? Whatever that is. So I think it's both, but really comes down to that identity or belief.
And there's so many examples that we have of that. So many examples. I'm going to give you a couple. We have a couple that we work with, and we're talking about the essential habits that within the proclivity method, and we're talking about whole foods and healthy carbs, right? And one of the couple, he loves vegetables, loves them. It's the greatest. Couldn't wait to talk about vegetables. Why? Because the wife didn't like vegetables. They're the worst. I hate them. I can't eat them. So on and so forth. Huh, that's interesting. Bipolar kind of identities that are going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Emily, what did we do?
Well, we looked at first we asked, are there any vegetables that you like?
And what did we find?
Right. We go back to, is there something you can do? We did find quite a few vegetables that she did like.
Over 10 vegetables that she liked. Yet she was identifying with, I don't like vegetables. I hate vegetables. I can't eat any vegetables. When we pointed it out, we said, well, actually, we just counted 11 different vegetables that you liked. We said, okay, well, does that actually mean that you don't like vegetables? Well, no, I guess not. What did she send a picture to us later on that day? What was it?
Some vegetable. Was it green
She
beans?
has a bell pepper
yeah.
and hummus. She was eating bell pepper and hummus. If she continued with the identity that I hate vegetables, I can't eat vegetables, of course she's not going to take any action toward eating any vegetables. When we showed her, wait a second, that's a false identity that you've created, maybe because of the pressure of a husband who loves vegetables, where you're kind of like, whoa, you're so in love. It's like trying to get your spouse to come to CrossFit. You're all super love CrossFit. You got to come. It's the best. I'm so fit. I'm so great. And they're just like, no way. That's too much. Right? Until they get in and then they love it too. Same kind of concept. I don't do CrossFit. I don't eat vegetables. What we say and what we repeat becomes the identity. The identity becomes the action. Yet we switched it. And then what happened? Oh, wait a second. Oh, here are all the vegetables I have. I have a problem with eating vegetables. I have an opportunity with eating vegetables. She now created the opportunity because she opened up the ability to see there's 11 different vegetables that I like. Actually, I'm a person who eats vegetables because there's all these vegetables that I can eat. Yet she was comparing herself to her husband who likes every single vegetable on the planet. And so if I don't like all 58 vegetables that he likes, then I must not be a person who likes vegetables. Mm-hmm. That was the focus. That's what expanded. Those were the results that she got. What we believe and what we tell ourselves creates that identity. That's how it works, folks. Happened to me just the other day. I went out to a ranch, was working on the ranch, cutting out some testicles with the sheep. It's what you do. You gotta get those rams. You gotta get those testicles out. You don't want to know how they get them out. Okay. But after being no cell service, out on a ranch, cowboy hat on, cowboy boots on, by the time I came back into town, guess what I felt like?
Cowboy.
Full-time cowboy. Full-time cowboy. Walking around, feeling like a cowboy, looking like a cowboy, blood on my shirt, right? Just full on. That was the action of going out and then identifying. And so, again, guys, when we're looking at this, when it comes to identity versus action, we need to really understand that both of them are at play. That you do need to have the right running shoes to be a runner. Not always, but it does help. Look like a runner, feel like a runner, be a runner. Yet we also must have the identity. We can have all the things, all the CrossFit gear. But if I still don't feel like I belong as a CrossFitter or as a runner or as a athlete, then it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work. So, Emily, before we wrap this up, anything you want to touch point? I threw a bunch of different stuff out here. I don't know if everybody's following along or not.
No, that was great. The key point for me personally is whenever I think of, oh man, this happens to me when I think I see someone that I admire. Like, sometimes I think like, why can't I be like that? I'm like, rather than just stopping right there, I'm like, why not? Is it the belief? Is it the fact that I have to be perfect at it? Right? It's that perfection over progress idea. And can we flip that?
Mm-hmm.
Something is better than nothing. Where can I start? Right? I start getting more curious. And so that's my go-to whenever I have that thought come to mind of like, oh, I can't do that. Or, oh, I want to be like that person. How can I start doing that? Right. And so I start to think of the little things, the baby steps. And I think that's where people get held up. They're like, oh, well, I'm not that person. So I'm just not that person. It's like, no. Can I get the running shoes? Can I go to a class? Can I buy a different vegetable? Or can I try something out? Can I ask a friend for advice?
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the little baby steps you can do. You can always do one little thing at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the action, right? It's the action of being able to take the baby step and identify with it. And identify with it. Emily and I have done this many times when we've done live presentations where we ask somebody in the crowd to come up and go, hey, will you show me what a queen looks like? How does a queen stand? How does a queen walk? How does a queen talk? And we get them into character, and guess what they do? They walk like a queen. They talk like a queen. They cross their legs like a queen. They stand up like a queen. And so if nobody knew what we were doing and they only could see, they couldn't hear, and they watched that person, what would they say? Wow, that person is really put together. Wow, that person is walking so strongly. Wow, that's a person I'd want to follow. All because we said, identify with that. And the more that we say, cool, walk like that for the rest of the day, people will start saying, wow, that's a strong person. That person walks tall. I want to follow that person. And before that, maybe you didn't perceive yourself as a leader. Yet if you start identifying, you will start taking the actions of a leader, of a queen, of a king, of a husband, of a wife, as a mother, as a father. Yet it takes the identity for the action and the action for the identity. Who knows which one's first? You tell us. So
I think you're right. A lot of people think, oh, that person was born that way, or that's just their personality. They're like, man, that's awesome. Like, I'll never have that. No, we have the power to do it. And if we want to improve ourselves, that's what we're going to do, right? You got to believe it and then take action on it. And you can do it. Anyone can do it.
That's such a good point. It's like, yeah, I was just born with king blood. It's just in my genes, my DNA. I was just born busy. I literally came out the womb, right? And was starting to create calculations of how to be able to, no, doctor, I'll cut my own cord. Thank you very much. Yet people laugh and say these things like, oh yeah, that's just, oh, my mom told me when I was a little baby that no, your mom was projecting on you. That's what she was doing. From her own perception of who she is, she was looking at you as a certain way and saying, oh, you were just always a busybody. You know, you were just go, go, go. And then go ahead, look at your mom. Is she go, go, go? Welcome to projections, folks. And then if we continue and just go, yeah, I've just always been a busybody. I'm just always a busybody. Welcome to anxiety. Welcome to stress. Welcome to overwhelm. Why? Because you're creating it. And guess what? If you can tell yourself you're a busybody, you can also tell yourself, I'm calm and in control. It's up to you. Dang. Hopefully there's minds melting right now.
I think so.
Okay. What are the 3 things you can do? You guys know that we always like leaving you with this. First and foremost, write this down. Repetition is the mother of all skill. Whatever you do and whatever you repeat, you will get great at. So be very careful on what you're saying, because there's 2 things that you're going to do more repetitions of than anything in life: your breath and your words, both internal and external dialogue. This is why we teach dialects and how to be able to use your words to create a better identity. Because if we repeat the things that make us feel empowered, guess what we're going to feel, Emily?
Empowered.
Yes, you winner, chicken dinner. Okay. The second thing that we want you to do is, just like Emily's example earlier about the laptop, question the habits you're ready to let go of. We're not going to call them good or bad. We're just going to question the habits of going, is that serving me? Not that it's good or bad. Maybe it is. Maybe being able to have time for Emily to go back home is actually time for her to decompress. Was it absolutely horrific that you had to drive back home?
No, I actually remember saying, I'm going to listen to a podcast and learn something new.
So something that we could have called a bad habit was a benefit. So we have to look at it and go, let me question this. Let me ask, how am I forgetting things? Oh, well, I tend to be really rushing out the door. Okay, well, how am I rushing out the door? Oh, I'm rushing out the door because I'm waking up later than usual. Oh, why are we waking up later than usual? Oh, well, I'm getting to bed late. Why are we getting to bed late? Oh, I tend to be on my phone looking at Instagram. I get really caught up in things. Now we can go, oh, that makes sense. Well, how about tonight I just turn off my phone or put it on airplane mode at 6, at 8, at 9. Oh, I went to bed early. Oh, I got up early. Oh, I got out the door. I didn't feel rushed. Actually, it's not because I was forgetful at all. It's because I really enjoy being able to get caught up on social media. Yet maybe it was a little too much. Question it, guys. Because if you make statements, you create an enemy of yourself. You're putting down posts and creating a fence around yourself that I am a certain way, instead of questioning. Questions pull, statements press. So question the habits you're ready to get let go of. And then lastly, enforce the habits that you do want, meaning take action now, right now, towards that habit. And then when you do it, back it with identity, positive identity reinforcement, and feel the emotion. Take a moment to feel the emotion, because the emotion seals the habit. So if I have a negative emotion with a habit, it seals it and I call it a bad habit. If I have a positive action with a positive emotion, I feel strong, I feel empowered, bam, I seal it. Be careful of your words and tune into how you're feeling. Emily, anything else?
No, well said, Joel.
We crushed this podcast. Emily, pitch them. Tell them where the magic is.
If you like what we talked about today, this is exactly what we go over on an individual basis and group setting, but also even if you're in the proclivity method group, we do individual calls with that as well. So we go more in depth on the individual level with this stuff. And it really is magic. So if you're interested, book a free clarity call with us. We have that link on our website, in our Instagram bio, and simply just have a chat with us. See if it's the right fit for you and for us. That's where you start. If not, keep listening to the podcast. We talk about all these little things here and there throughout all the different podcast episodes and on our Instagram and our blog. Check it out. And we'd really appreciate if you shared the podcast or shared a blog post, something that you actually enjoyed and took something away from. Really helps us spread the word and grow. So thank you in advance.
Oh, look at that. Emily's so nice. Identity. Yes. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Proclivity Podcast. This is episode 113. We look forward to seeing you next week on episode 114. And until then,
best day ever.
Best day ever. Emily, I got a question.
Okay.
This is a Jacob Wellock question. I'm going to ask it. Shout out to Jacob Wellock, Double Edge Fitness here in Reno, Nevada. You would have icebreakers as a coach at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be like, okay, tell us your favorite ice cream. And everybody go around, oh, my name's Joel. My favorite ice cream is this. Jacob would do stuff like this. All right, we're going to have you go around and you have to decide. You either get mauled by a lion or eaten by an alligator. Go. And everybody would be like, eyes get super big. Like, and he would do that so often. So tip to the hat to Jacob Willock at Double Edge Fitness. Emily, would you rather be eaten by a snake, mauled by a lion, or drowned by an alligator?
Oh man, I don't know what eaten by a snake looks like. Is that slow? Because they're smaller.
Anaconda. I want to talk like 40, 50 foot long, massive snake.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's going to eat you whole. Like it will strangle you and then eat you all whole.
This sounds weird, but probably that.
They're all weird, Emily.
I know they are.
That's why this is the tip of the hat to Jacob Willock. Right? I would go with the line. Because I would feel like I would have maybe just a chance at one point of like getting away before it like digs its claws deep into my side. And it's most likely going for my neck. So it's just going to choke me out and I'll just be gone. It's kind of similar with the snake.
Yeah.
You'll just pass out and they'll just eat you.
I appreciate lions. So maybe that would be a cool, like last part of my life experience. I can see that.
You appreciate lions until when one's eating you. Yeah.
Well, then I'm dead.
Then you're dead. It doesn't matter. There you go. Internal to external. You guys, if you have made it this far into the podcast and you want to answer this question, do so in the reviews. And you can also say something nice. Actually, pause. Don't do it in the reviews. That might get really weird. Just leave us a review. If you leave us a review, take a screenshot, send it to us on Instagram at proclivity.co or email us at joel@proclivity.co or emily@proclivity.co. If you are the first one to take a screenshot of a review, we'll send you a box of LMNT. Whole box just for you. All right. Ready to go run?
Let's do it.
See you guys.